Good morning. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night. Hello. We are live in the Hawk's Nest on the beautiful campus of the Hebrew Academy of Far Rockaway in Lawrence. I know, I'm like the, I don't know, Jay, if you figure out I'm a mastery of words. I mess it all up all the time.
Well, more of like a mastery of the past. I think,
Yeah,
used to be
I got the
there.
highlight,
Right, exactly.
highlight announcement. Bruce Wernick here with Jay, Aaron.
That is me.
That's you.
Who else is here?
Joey's going to join us.
Wow. What an honor.
By the way, I meant to mention about what Hazan said. He said he wasn't last night. I want to get into this a little bit later. Number 24 for the culture. He's playing BERMAN today and this morning in the play-in round or playoff round. I don't know how they call it. Said that he's not Shomer Shabbos, not typically, and he's never been to a Shabbaton like this. And he said it's almost it was so moving for him. So, with that said,
So that was the guy on Culture.
yeah, number 24.
Ah, Hazan.
And we're away. Number 5 gets the start today. Yaakov from the 14-year-old.
It's gotta be cool, at least for him. 14-year-old playing in this varsity tournament.
Yeah,
As Robbie Satran told us, the oldest tournament in existence in the yeshiva world.
I believe it. Nice backdoor. Oh, stolen by Hazan. Comes out early. They like to fall. Number 2, Epstein, puts it up. Oh, we got to change of possessions quite quickly here.
Twice.
Asher Falk was treated by a world-class surgeon, Dr. Mickang, on his hand the other day. Wouldn't have surgery on it, but stolen by Epstein. August to Falk.
We got a foul.
Definitely having some issues with that thumb. Blue coach, 30-second timeout for the culture. So,
Timeout for the culture.
you know what they call their fans? The Culture Club.
I knew it was going to be very punny. I just I couldn't get there.
Too early in the morning, at 9 o'clock start.
You're not kidding, by the way. And we are going to be here just absolutely all day.
My voice is already shot.
I would say I might have stayed up too late for a school night last night.
Did you go to the Barn or the Willow
The
Tavern?
Willow Tavern. I did not. I went to my friend's house, but that is a blast from the past.
I really think that's a great. People need to rent that out and have adult parties there. All right. Asher Falk on the line. Shoot 2. Makes the first one. And drains the second one. High scoring ball game 2-0 with after 1 minute of play.
Having a teeny tiny computer problem here. I just fixed it.
No follow by number 40. Should have followed him. Didn't. Made Hazan force a shot. Oh my gosh, almost had the alley layup.
The alley layup.
Foul.
Blue 24. It sounds like a football game broke out.
Yeah.
At the basketball game.
Oh, Epstein off the mark. Pulled down by 34. And gets the roll. Avi Soberov.
Berman looking to push the early lead to 5. They will not.
There's three team fouls. So who made that basket? Crowley was fixing the... All right. The Culture yet to get on the board. They're working their way back to you, babe. So, Jay, how did come your son is a Cowboys fan?
That is a great story. I'll tell you soon about the story.
Enjoy the bagel. We got to travel. All right. Fun times in Cleveland today. We've got with us on the mic is athletic director, head coach, bottle washer, floor cleaner, Joey Honig in the house today.
Thank you, Bruce. Hey, great game. Oh, steal by Berman, and he lights it up by number 11.
Asher Falk.
Asher Falk. He was a half-der killer on Friday.
Timeout blue, their second timeout. Full 30-second timeout.
Good morning, Bruce. How you doing today? How's everybody doing today?
We're doing great. Got Aaron in the booth. Jay Aaron.
Jay Aaron. And we got 3 referees today for this.
All right, three-man rotation.
For this quarterfinal Tier 2 game. 3 refs, and they're 3 great refs. Andre, Mike, Paul, they're all great refs. Fantastic. They are the higher-end refs of the league here in New York. For those who are watching from Miami and from Maryland, this is going to be a nice game. We hope.
It's great that we have these guys out here from all over the country that come participate in this tournament.
It's fantastic. I loved the meeting these kids and the coaches this weekend. These guys are great. I'm so happy that we invited both of these teams. They're both a pleasure over the weekend. I got rave reviews from their hosts, and it's been a great weekend so far.
Out of town kids. Really nice. Not saying that the ones here aren't. I'm just,
No, you can say it.
got it.
It's true.
Oh, backcourt.
Yep, backcourt violation.
Good call. This guy, 24, Hazan. Robbie Satran said last night he was the only one in the 32 years of the tournament that actually walked up to him and said, "Can you tell me something about your brother?"
Really. Yeah, he's a nice kid, nice player. I got to give a lot of credit. To this young Jewish culture school. They're playing freshmen and sophomores against mostly seniors, and they're holding their own. Have not won a game yet, but they play tough, and they're going to be fantastic. Hopefully they'll be able to come back in the next coming years. And they will definitely be competing at the highest level once these guys grow and get older.
And they're going to develop a lot more. So number 11, Asher Falk with a foul. His first. Putting number 40, who's on the line? Putting Hazan on the line. To shoot 2.
Joey, a great job as always. Should be given publicly to you on the air for this year's tournament.
Thank you so much. Who's that, Jay Aaron?
Of course.
Jay.
They rolled me out of bed in a wheelbarrow and dragged me here.
Well, listen, it's been a whirlwind of a weekend, and it's, today is not going to be any different. Wow, look at this kid drive the ball to the basket. Wow.
Nice.
Who was that, Falk?
Falk, yeah.
He is some special player with a broken thumb, it seems.
You know who worked on him last night? Dr. McCain.
Oh, yes?
McCain, yeah.
Josh McCain saw him, and I guess he
taped him up and got him ready to go for the game.
I guess he's letting him play, but he's with a broken hand. I mean, he's a special player.
Seconds. Get out of there.
This Berman team played some game last night against Hillel. They came up a little short, but they were something special, something to watch.
Berman's kind of like the weird team in the tournament that they've played really well against good teams but haven't won.
Yeah, they played their first game, I think, was against North Shore. Their first game was against North Shore, and they were toe-to-toe with them till the end. Who just hit that one?
Asher August. No, that was
and another
Alex
steal.
August.
Boy, these guys are all over the place.
freshman Alex August.
And then when they played you guys Friday, you guys had an early lead. In the second half, they were like, they
Nice
wouldn't
pass.
go away.
Yeah, we were up actually by 14 going into the second half, and these guys just kept coming back, and they don't give up. They are tough. But you're right, Jay. This is one of the teams that one of the best teams here, and they just had maybe a tougher schedule. Nobody expected them to lose to us to Hefter. We got a sub coming in for Jewish culture.
Speaking of which, you guys probably don't play till like 3 in the afternoon or something?
We play 1:30 in the afternoon. We're going to play the winner of Hillel and DRS, which is going to go on at 10:30.
How much does it matter, you think, to your guys that they, really, they got to sleep late today? I don't know if they're here, but they're probably
No.
They get to sleep late today. I mean, does that matter?
They've got to be up for Davin. So.
That's correct. They're coming from Indian, but do they? I don't think they really care. I think my guys, for some reason, maybe because they're all juniors and they just want to play. They're eager. They're hungry. So I don't think it really is gonna. It affects them that much. I think it's fantastic, of course. As a coach, get them more rest, as much rest as possible, and of course we don't have to play a quarterfinal game. That was also huge. And that was, as Jay, as you know, you've been doing this for a long time. Winning quarters in the preliminary games in Thursday and Friday's games, winning quarters pays dividends. And we ended up getting, playing very, very tough and winning everything except for 2 quarters. So.
Yeah, for those who don't know, there is a tiered point scoring system every time you win a quarter.
Right.
It kind of works like FIFA. It's however Joey decides that it works the best. No kidding. It's you get 3 points for winning the first quarter, 2 points for winning the second quarter, 3 points for winning 1 point for winning a third quarter. So it's tiered down.
Correct.
And
we do that because the tiebreakers. When it comes down to a tiebreaker, of course, the first one goes head to head. But After that, when you have 12 teams and you're only having 3 preliminary games, we do a point system, but it doesn't encourage a team to blow out anybody. In many tournaments that we've been to, it's by point differential. And we refuse to do that because that's just encouraging teams to just blow out other teams, and we don't like that. So you can win the quarter by 1 point, and you're getting points for that quarter. You can win by 1, you can win by 30, it's the same thing. So, and then in the fourth quarter, we got a timeout. We got a timeout again from Jewish Culture School.
Speaking of winning quarters.
Yeah, they're...
You know, it is. The truth is, it's funny. You know, you have all these tiebreakers and whatever, and you have to win a tournament like this. This year, you didn't have as many 3-0 teams.
Well, we had 3, and North Shore, they had a tougher schedule, but still, they didn't win any quarters. So they hardly won any quarters, right? And Frisch, also a fantastic team. I think they were 2-1, correct?
Yeah.
They didn't win too many quarters, so they got a lower seed. You got to win quarters. It's so important. You know, you got to play. Even in the third quarter, it's only worth 1 point in the third quarter, but you got to win them because that's the difference between getting a bye or a higher seed, and it's important. And
It's funny, the NFL is going through the exact same thing now with when the playoffs got a little,
Right.
messed up, and then they started looking at tiebreaker. And I mean, you have to do the small things.
Yeah, what's going on with that? What's the update with that?
They blew out. They canceled their last game.
Yeah, the
I
last
know
game's
that.
canceled.
Right.
And then I heard about so the first thing they did is they made this ridiculous rule about neutral site playoff games, which basically screws the Bengals because they cannot play. There's a bunch of different tiers, but basically the Bengals cannot play a home
Right.
AFC Championship game if they get there. It's like mathematically impossible, I think now. But what I
Wow,
don't know,
what a move.
that
Did
is-
you just see that
Wow.
move? I'm sorry, Jay, to interrupt you.
No,
Did
that
you
was-
just
that was
see
a
that?
move.
That is something special. This kid is a sophomore.
Freshman,
He's a freshman?
24.
24 is a freshman?
Yeah.
No, it's going to be a long 3 years, Joe.
Hey, Coach, he's a freshman?
Oh.
He's a sophomore, actually.
Bruce, come on.
Sorry, I had every other information about him.
But he is something special. I mean, this kid is going to be, he already is one of the best players in this entire tournament, top 5, I think. And he is something special. Wow, he's going to torture us for the next couple of years in this tournament. Hoping they come back, but they're very happy to be here, I believe.
Oh, number 40, good hustle.
We have on the court right now 2 of the top 5 players, in my personal opinion, in this tournament. Number 11 for Berman and number 24 for Jewish Culture. These 2 kids are spectacular. We played them both.
Joey, how many religious schools are there in the sort of Miami area?
How many religious schools are there in Miami?
Yeah.
I know, you'd have to call the mayor of Miami and ask him that question.
I'm sure you have some sense of it.
I have no idea.
Are there other basketball programs?
Well, there's the Hebrew Academy.
Right.
They used to be called Ham, I believe. Hebrew Academy Miami. I'm serious. When we grew up, that was it. Wow, what a move. Did you see that one? These kids are just so good.
My fault.
Wow, and there's a foul on, I think it was on number 23.
By the way, that fadeaway three-pointer that didn't count wasn't too bad either.
Foul on 40. These kids are,
Blue 40.
both of these kids are spectacular. They really are. Non-shooting foul, it was called.
Let's see if they got a fancy. Oh, well, hold on. There was 1.3 seconds. Now there's 13 seconds.
This Berman team is extremely disciplined. You see the way both teams are very disciplined. Great coaching on both sides.
Before the game, they run these drills and the warm-ups.
Oh, good pass. What a good kick out. And a 3 at the buzzer. There it was. The drive and kick. The drive and kick. That's it's something that not every team can do to perfection like they just did.
I don't know if you saw it last night as your game was ending, but we had that crazy overtime game at the high school, the 8:30 game.
Yes, we watched it here at the in the Hawks Nest. We watched it live on the big screen.
And right at the end of regulation, you had a chance. You had called timeout, 12 seconds left. They didn't even get a playoff.
Yeah, it happens. Listen, it's not such an easy thing to do what they just did right now. that drive, you have to be drawing the double team, and then you have to have the kid in the right spot. It's not so easy to do. They made it look easy.
That's
When
what
you do it
Magan
enough
does
times.
too, by the way.
Magan's got that magic. Magic.
We were talking about it last night. Magan obviously also, they played the 11th seed in the tournament. It wasn't the most difficult victory they ever came by. But, the ball movement and the composure and the tempo that they play at. And then as we're watching this, we realized somewhere towards the end of the first quarter, these aren't even their starters. Like, this is their second team that moves the ball like that.
Right.
I mean, it was really, really impressive to watch.
I got to say something about the Magan David program, to be honest with you. Compared to other programs, for what I've seen, Magan David has they start them in first grade, and they run the same system. I think they're in the gym already in first grade working out, because these kids are strong. I mean, if you look at Magan David compared to Hafter, I think they can they can manhandle us very easily because of their strength. I mean, they're all so strong. An offensive foul on Jewish Culture School. They are just strong. They're disciplined. They have the same program from sixth grade all the way up. The sixth grade basketball team doing the same press that the varsity does. And these guys are disciplined, and they run a great program. They really do, and it's something to emulate. It really is.
And they have a lot of kids too. I mean, their bench. Top
They have
to
a lot of
bottom.
kids. They have a lot of kids, and this kid, the second center, this kid Levy, he's a junior, is fantastic. He's strong, and he plays just as good as any of the stuff. Wow, what a good move! Switched it to his right hand. I don't know who that was. Number 2, what's his name?
There's Epstein.
Epstein. Wow, nice. He's a nice player. He's a good shooter also. He actually played very well against us on Friday.
Berman has taken out most of the 3 of the starters. So that was a freshman to freshman play right there.
Wow.
By the way, credit
Another
to
timeout.
the Culture School, because they went to Times Square last night. We don't have an official report as to when they got back, and they're here playing at 9 o'clock games. So.
Well, you should have heard them when they walked in at 8:30, and the coach says in Hebrew, "Wake up! You have a game to play."
Listen, you got to give him a lot of credit for a lot of different reasons. They're freshmen and sophomore playing against very, very tough competition.
And
So
they're holding their own a little bit to that extent.
yeah, they're playing against very tough
Not in this
competition.
game, but I think they're just drained.
They don't want any mercy though. These
No.
team, he's all coached very, very well. Spencer Kupferman is the coach from Miami, and he's a good coach. He knows the game.
Kids who played at UNH.
Yes, a real ball played. That was D1, Division One. From what I understand, during his time, he was listed as one of the top Jewish ball players in the country. Very impressive.
That's
Nice backdoor play. Good backdoor play. Didn't work out, but the coach is happy with that play. So you got to give them credit. I'm happy that they're here again. I'm hoping that they come back in the next few years. I'm really happy to have them.
How big would you like to see this tournament get, or is it as big as it should be?
We could go to 24 teams if we wanted to, but it's just really too big. And
We could.
we could. No, we can't. We can't. We don't have enough gyms. But we're going to keep it at. We're not going to go higher than 12. We were thinking about 16 this year, but it's just too much for our gyms to handle and in a short period of time. It's already difficult that today, since everybody made the Tier 1 playoffs last night, which was a little bit of a different format, and I'm happy we did it that way. But it's difficult already that some teams today, assuming that one of the teams has an upset in the semifinals, which is very, very possible, that team is going to play 3 games in one day. That's not easy. At any level, that's not easy. So I don't think we're going to be able to go more. Wow. He's something. This kid gets to the basket.
White 4.
So yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to go bigger than that. Don't forget, we don't start until Thursday night. It's not like they're coming on Thursday. We're starting late Thursday night.
I was thinking that's probably the only way to expand it in any way is to use Thursday as an all-day
Right.
day.
Right. Correct.
Wow, these spin moves. Oh, if that went in.
Wow. Did you see that?
Spin move, off foot, switch hands. I mean, that's,
And going to his left.
yeah.
Wow.
And
That's how I
then come
used to
back
do
and
it.
shoot with your right.
What did you say, Bruce? That's the
That's
way
how I
you
used
used to
to
do
do
it?
it.
Joey's like, hold on. What? What? I know it's early, but what?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, Bruce is a good ball player. I believe that when he was younger, he was even better. He has played with us in our back Lawrence game a few times, and he can play.
Need to get back in that playing weight.
That's a whole different story. Very poised on that press. You see the way they're coached, Berman. I'm very impressed with them. I'm very impressed with the coaching staff there at Berman. And again, they're a pleasure to have. They came to our girls' tournament last year, Jay, if you recall.
Yes.
And they were really great last year. They ran into a good Hafter team, but this year they are the favorites to win our girls' tournament in a month from now, which is coming up. Oh, it was a deep 3.
Yeah, those who are watching, it is the first week of February.
Yep.
Yeah, I spoke to Adam on this.
Intelligently, not the week of the Super Bowl.
That is correct. That's correct.
So that is, I mean, you could either watch our girls' tournament or NFL players play flag football. It's really up to you.
Referee Andre doing a good job out there.
So why did we go with 3 refs today? Over scheduling?
I'm sorry?
I said, why did we go with 3 refs today? Over
Well,
scheduling?
you know, we like these refs, and we figured why not? We'll give them all some work. And that and overscheduling. Yes.
So last night there were no refs, and tonight we got extras.
There were no refs? What does that mean?
I know Leroy was making calls, and there were excuses, and guys were lost.
Oh, there was that question with the ball going up through the cylinder.
That was interesting. Jay, did you hear that rule? You heard what happened?
No.
So what's the rule if if a team pops the ball from under the net
You
through
lose
the hoop?
points, right?
That's what we were told as kids.
No, it doesn't count.
We know it doesn't count.
Turnover.
It's a turnover. Right. It is a turnover. So if the defensive team pops it up,
Oh, if the defensive team pops
which
it up.
happened in yesterday's game, then there's a dispute going on. Leroy, who knows the rules very well, says that it's an alternate possession. But that doesn't make much sense because
No,
it's
not
supposed
at
to be a turnover. So if the offensive team pops it through, it's a turnover. So certainly, Kal v'chomer, for those who know a little bit Gemara lingo.
You would think that the defense would be at least
Correct. Leroy says no. Leroy says it's alternate possession. But we're going to check up on that today with Andre. Andre's the one on the court here at half court. He knows the rules better than anybody else. So we're going to check up with him at halftime. But I didn't even know that it was a turnover. I just thought that you just play. I didn't realize that. And
Offensively, it makes sense because it's like, hitting the top of the backboard or something like that.
Yeah, I think that rule was changed actually because it wasn't always like that. I know that when I grew up, if the ball went through the hoop, even if it came down and went in, that didn't count. But the ball was live; didn't count. It was not a turnover.
You just kept playing.
You kept playing, yeah. Just like it hits the side of the basket, you keep
Right.
playing. Long 3 from.
And way downtown, number 13, Shiloh Khan.
Oh, nice shooter. I wonder what he is. He's a freshman or a sophomore. I'm not going to ask Bruce because he obviously doesn't know.
Correct.
Not often.
And I don't think JCHS coach is too busy.
Right.
The Jewish alley off the backboard.
Sub coming in.
Not now.
Obviously. I find it hard to believe that they only have 1 timeout left.
Say that again?
Yeah, he burnt a few timeouts.
He used 4 already?
Yes, he did. But, it's
that's
tough.
Okay, that's accurate.
It's almost like Coach Honig from after burning a timeout after like 15 seconds into the game. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen me do that many times over the years.
Once or twice.
8 times this year.
But I don't remember the last time I used up all my timeouts in a game, even in those situations. Well, look at the way these guys pass the ball. And I don't believe this is Berman's first team, but they're just all
No,
very,
it's not.
very Yeah, they're very disciplined. They're coached very well. I like Yona. He's a good guy, and he's an excellent coach. Doesn't get too excited. Keeps his composure.
Unlike some other coaches in the gym. Oh, you see.
And not in this gym. You mean in a different gym.
Right.
Oh, that's a deep three. Oh, my goodness. That had to be from 30. That has to be about 35 feet.
That was NBA.
That was NBA. That was deep. That was not NBA. That was Steph Curry range.
That was parking lot.
That was something else. Wow.
It's fantastic.
And he does it. It's not like he's throwing it up. He does it like Curry. I'm serious. And that's the way. That's what this kid has. He's something special.
And by the way, I mean, he's being asked to do it when all 5 players on the other team know he's the guy.
In his face.
And I don't mean this in a demeaning way. So Jewish culture, don't take it the wrong way. But he doesn't have the greatest of players with him on his team. They're young. They're going to be great. But they're not, at the same level as, let's say, Berman. And yet he's doing it with 3 or 4 guys jumping out at him at every single time.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like he has a bunch of guys to pass to or great passes coming to him. So he's doing it largely on his own, and then also having to do it against defenders who know that he's the one who's going to be shooting it. So it's very impressive.
It's the first year the school's been in existence. They only have 80 people to choose from.
That also means they probably haven't played much, together. This isn't Magan where they've been playing since first grade.
Correct. But, the coach is always talking about not being selfish. He's talking about it all the time, and I think they're doing a great job. I think they're building something for the future here, and they're going to be great.
Yeah, realistically, these kids have probably only been playing with each other a maximum of 5 months.
Correct.
In life.
Right.
I mean, it's not bad.
So the coach asked me to have an exhibition game today for Jewish culture versus the Hafter Hawks JV team.
Is this happening?
It is happening. It's going to be live streamed at 3 o'clock. We added in an extra game there in the Junior Nest, which is the smaller gym, because that's what's available at the time. But, it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be an interesting matchup. The JV Hafter team is a pretty good team, and I think that's going to be an interesting game. I'd love to see how that JV handles him.
Who do you think's going to win objectively? I know objectively is your specialty.
I think objectively, it's going to be a close game, and I think Hafter is going to win. I think they have a few more horses, a few better players, but you never know.
Were you second?
You never know. Right now, maybe, and these kids are also exhausted. They're going to be playing now. They're going to be playing again at 12 o'clock, and then at 3. It's a tough challenge for them, but I give credit to the coach.
Listen, that's probably the best litmus test for him of the entire tournament, to see where his kids are at against kids their age.
Yeah, the only problem is, again, that they're going to be playing the 3rd game in one day. It's not so easy.
Who do they play?
And don't forget, remember, they went to Times Square last night.
Yes. Who do they play in Miami? That's a nice pass.
Who do they play in Miami?
Yeah, is it other yeshivas? They play
I don't think there's enough. They don't have like a yeshiva league like we have. There's just not enough schools in the Florida region to play in a real league like this. Maybe eventually they will, because half of New York is moving to Florida.
Right.
So eventually there'll be like a yeshiva league, I think. But right now I think they play in a public school league. Correct, Bruce? Bruce, they play in a public school league, right?
No, they play like a parochial league.
Mm-hmm.
Against JVs or varsities?
Varsity.
Very impressive.
Yeah. I like them.
Hazan's 3rd foul.
There's Mike. Mike is a seasoned referee in this league, right, Mike? How you doing? Fantastic ref. We have a lot of good refs here this morning, really. We have Paul, and Mike, and Andre.
So, Joe, you play the winner of Hillel...
DRS.
Oh,
he was running already back court.
Did
you see that? He was back on defense.
Do you have a preference on who you play?
Offensive.
Well, we just lost to DRS on the New Year's Eve game. It was a close game, but, they did beat us. So I guess I would prefer to play Hillel, but we're ready for anybody.
Do you have Hillel on your regular schedule this year?
No, we do not. We did play them, I don't know if you guys remember, but I think Bruce was there with me. Yeah, Bruce was sitting on the bench that game. We did play Hillel in the preliminary tournament game in Mag and David tournament.
Yep.
And we got blown out by about 30 points by Hillel. But we're a different team now.
There's no Kevin Levy on that.
There was no Kevin and no Peter. And we have only juniors now. The juniors seem to be gelling together as a group that I've never seen it before. I've never had all juniors on a team, but this junior group, they have a lot of pride. And since we went all juniors, they won the last 10 out of 11 games. So,
you know,
pretty impressive.
Peter had a game last night. I hadn't seen him play in a while. That was, 23 points in the first half. I don't know if you saw this.
He ended up with 33 because he didn't play much in the second half.
I heard 35.
35? That's possible.
Yeah. Which I was going to say is almost more impressive than the 23 because he played the entire first half.
He had 21 first half.
23.
And then somehow managed 12 points when it seemed like he only played for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, he played really. He didn't play a lot in the second half.
And somehow scored 12 points.
Yeah, listen, he's getting there. Think about where he was 4 or 5 months ago when we just started the season.
Forget 4 or 5 months ago. We actually talked about, his progression over the years. He's by far of that group the most improved player. Not to say he's the best player or anything like that, but, coming from where he started versus everybody else, I don't think there's, even the players who are great, Sam and Kevin, they had a steady progression. Peter, the difference in what he was in 7th, 8th grade versus now is tremendous.
Yeah, he's really progressed well, especially like I say, especially since the beginning of the season in September. It's just it's incredible how much he's progressed.
By the way, he didn't score on that play, although he got to the free throw line. That was he had a 3-pointer that he passed. Talk about taking, he passed on a decent shot to turn it into a really high percentage shot. And ended up on the free throw line. These guys are very good.
Yeah, they're very disciplined. Really, that's what it's about. So getting back to Peter Drucker, the interesting thing about Peter compared to other teams, Peter has not seen a weight room yet in his life.
Which is amazing because he's double the size of anybody on the court.
So when he's going to start working out, we're going to get him onto some type of workout regimen. He's going to be bigger and stronger than anybody else in the league. And he has a good work ethic. So, he's... Wow, did you just see those passing? Did you just see that? Yes, they traveled. But did you see the passing?
Tic-tac-toe.
Without the ball hitting the ground. I don't know if everybody saw that. That was something special.
But Peter, we interviewed him after the game. We gave him player of the game. And he also cares and he wants to learn. And, he's very into it, for lack of a more complex way of saying it. He's just into it. Talking about boxing out and all these,
So what's happened? Wow, did you see that shot?
Tell me that goes in.
Nice shot.
So, in the beginning of the season, he was very, very frustrated because he's playing against guys who are very, very strong. They're all strong. And almost as big as him. Many teams, we played our first game of the season was against North Shore, and they're all big. And he was very frustrated. And he was, really, the truth is, he was at the verge of quitting. He was not happy. He was playing, but he was not happy because he just wasn't effective. But right after we came back from Alabama, we played in that Auburn tournament. He committed himself. We had a conversation. He committed himself to really working hard. And if he wasn't happy after that, I said, you got to do what's right for you. And he bought into the system. And that's really the only way I can say it. He just bought into the defense. He learned how to play defense better. He learned how to use his height and his body better.
And he's been very receptive to it.
And he's been,
as you said.
Yeah. And you could tell he's still learning. Last night obviously wasn't a competitive game if you were just looking at the score both ways. But, we talked about different plays. There were times when he caught the ball in the right spot, how easy it was then to just, pivot off his outside foot. One dribble, one step to the basket, and an easy layup. And by the way, his left-hand finishes are very good, which is important if you play, 95% of your game under the basket. You got to be able to finish two hands. So there were plays like that, and then there were plays where he caught the ball completely in the wrong spot, and then it was difficult for him to, get to the basket or get a shot off. So you could see it's still, there's still plays where it comes so naturally because he's doing everything right, and plays where he's definitely still learning.
And don't forget, the team didn't really trust him in the beginning of the season. I mean, I'm just going to say it the way it is. They didn't trust him. They throw him the ball, and he couldn't catch the ball. Or he'd be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they wouldn't throw him the ball. And the team now is first learning to trust him. And that speaks volumes. It's true. And the truth is, I probably wouldn't have trusted him in the beginning of the season either to catch the ball. He just wasn't ready. But now the team is starting to trust him. He's getting the ball more in the paint. He's going to have to learn how to pass better out of the double and triple teams that now he's all of a sudden he's drawing. And I think he's going to be really successful. And now Kevin is back, and he just started playing a week ago.
Right.
So
and
we haven't even played together as a full team up until a week ago, and even then he's just not back yet. Kevin, he's not back to his full capacity. So.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because we talked about last night. This team was so dominant in middle school. Hafter has a very weird sort of bar chart of talent year over year over year. You said it. There are no seniors on this team, not a single one. And, of course, this team had to play similarly on JV. And then when they had their chance as sophomores, Kevin obviously played varsity. So this is the first time these guys are back together in 3 years, as one unit. Of course, the missing player plays for North Shore, as we talked about. But that's not going to change.
They give him better scholarship.
And and next year will be, this team back together again as, one full unit like they were in middle school, obviously vastly improved. And by the way, I mean, Jordan really had the role that Peter now has when they were in middle school.
Correct. That's right.
And Peter's a whole lot bigger. So, but I mean, Jordan's obviously a fantastic ball player. He's starting for North Shore as a junior now.
I'll take Peter.
You don't have a choice.
I'll take him over Jordan. Good luck to Jordan being in a different school. Of course, he's been there now for 3 years. But, somebody who defects from our school, we wish him good luck.
You may play him today at some point.
We might. You never know. They're on the other side of the bracket, but, it's possible.
I mean, if they win 2 games and you win 1.
That's what it's about.
And it's a very interesting day. We talked about this last night. I mean, the talent at the top of this tournament, the top 6 teams are, great teams. This really, obviously Magan would be the heavy betting favorite at this point. They've just been so good, but
don't count Frisch out. They're down 19 in the third quarter last night.
Right.
Did you see what? That's unbelievable. And then they ended up winning by 12. That's some turnaround.
There have been a lot of weird swings in this tournament.
That's what happens.
The Magan game on Friday?
Yeah, 10 points one way, 8 points another way, 10 points back the other way.
Right. It's been interesting. I said last night going into the playoffs that it's good that we kept all 12 teams in Tier 1 and not dropping down anybody, in the beginning and creating a Tier 2 right away. Because the truth is that taking away 1 or 2 teams here, there are 10 teams here that could have won this championship.
Agreed.
Think about that. The fact that we're in the top is fortunate for us. We had an easier schedule, to be honest. But even so, we still had to beat BERMAN, and we had to beat them in all the quarters just to get to.
How close were you to Magan?
Hold on, I lost you there.
You're back.
I'm back. No, I'm not back. I don't hear myself.
Oh.
Something's
We
going.
hear you.
Something's going in and out. So it's interesting because there's so many good teams here. Think about it. Think about the teams who lost last night. Think about it. It's unbelievable. That YMC team from Baltimore. They're playing some great basketball. The coach is killing himself that he gave up a 19-point lead. They had him. They had him down. They had him down on the ropes.
He was out here this morning saying that his team's playing Santa Claus last night, giving away everything.
But that's a great line. He's funny, Chaim Katz. He's a great coach. So YMC, they get knocked out in the preliminary game on Saturday night. They could have won this tournament. They could have won it all. Think about that. BERMAN gets knocked out in that first round. They're just as good as anybody else. They barely lost to North Shore in the first game on Thursday. They barely lost to Hafter on Friday. Anybody can win this tournament. Look, look who's left. You got DRS. Up until a couple of weeks ago, was undefeated, right in the Yeshiva League here in New York. You got Magan David, who's just lost to DRS by a point or two the other day. North Shore hasn't lost a game. Think about what's going on here. You got Frisch, which is they're a powerhouse, and this kid Zachheim has a good family name, and he's keeping to his reputation. It's unbelievable what the level of basketball is here this tournament. I dare to say, and I'm running this for, I know this is the 37th year. I'm running this for only 21 years, 22 years, but I don't think I've ever seen a level of basketball like this. Maybe once or twice. I don't know. Maybe when we had the Heschel year, when
you can feel it though. You can feel it just coming in the gym that there's the quality of play out here, and just the respect that everyone has for each other as a team. Maybe it's because this Jewish basketball world has gotten smaller and everybody knows each other.
Also, listen, you had years in this tournament where there were just dominant teams in here. Unbeatable dominant teams. Many of those years it was Hafter and DRS.
Right.
And of course Mag and David. I mean, Mag and David's won this tournament 3 years in a row, recently. But you had these powerhouses. So, first of all, Joey would keep the tournament small, which I think in those years it was fairly warranted, because how do you have, why would you want to bring in 12 teams when the top, let's say 3 or 4 teams are just ridiculously dominant? It wouldn't make sense. I mean, you'd have blowouts in every game, and, ultimately that's not a great time as we get ready to start the second half. So, yeah, it's interesting how much parity there is
in this league and in the tournament.
And listen, this is not to take away from any individual player in this tournament, because there are some great players. Obviously, we've been waxing poetic for an entire half in this game about one of JCHS's players and how good he's going to be.
Right.
Hazan, of course, but it is an interesting format. I think, as Joey has snuck away like a thief in the night.
He didn't get a bagel.
Oh, okay. As Berman picks up right where they left off. But, it is interesting to see, if nothing else, that the players, I don't think there's any superstars that just make these games, that put these games out of reach. I think that's the reason, ultimately, for what Joey's talking about.
Right. Now Berman gets the starting 5 back out there. And there he goes. I want to tell, I wish I could fix my throat real quick. I'm having trouble with the voice.
Well, one of those blue boxes mutes you.
And you're very happy that it was there.
So, by the way, to answer your question from 45 minutes ago, I wasn't a gigantic football fan when I was very young. I was way more into basketball and baseball. And in 6th grade, I had a rabbi that I liked a lot, and he was a Cowboys fan, and that's the answer.
Where's that, here at Hafter?
No, I grew up in Jersey, so that was at Yavna Academy in Paramus.
Nice.
School still exists. It is still in Paramus, just not in the same place.
Because my son, I'm from, as you know, I'm a big Cowboy fan because I'm from Dallas. My son was on your son's color war team.
Ah.
And they really hit it off because Cowboy fans unite.
Especially in New York.
Right.
It's funny, they really are everywhere. Everywhere I go in the U.S. is always, I wear, during football season, I wear a lot of Cowboys gear. And, I'll be in the airport or something, and there's always Cowboys fans that come out of the woodwork. And in Dallas, it's a religion. So.
Yes. You don't go to work happy on Monday morning on a day that Cowboys lose.
It's funny because
everybody is upset. And then those years in the 90s after all those World Championships, the birth rate increased. There was actually a stat on that.
It is funny because, it's so different. And everybody knows that in Texas, football is
reigns.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been to a lot of Cowboys games there, and a lot of times, you'll get in an Uber after the game, and it's such a different experience in New York because, New York as a city in general, there's just so much going on. So, are there a lot of Giant and Jet fans in New York? Yeah, absolutely. But it's so diverse and cultured, and there's just so much. It's not like, if you got in Manhattan, if you got into an Uber or a cab after a giant win, I mean,
Yeah,
who cares?
exactly.
In Dallas, you get in the Uber and it's, the Cowboys played great today, because all the Uber drivers were listening to the game on the radio while they were driving.
And they know they're going to get tipped better.
Yeah, it's just a different. It's a different atmosphere. It's a different beast. And not to mention, I've been to a few of the, what I used to do is I would just go or try to go to the Cowboy Giant game at MetLife Stadium every year because it was convenient, and
Right.
I stopped going because MetLife Stadium is just.
So hard to get to.
From here
Tip.
it's virtually impossible. Doink.
Way to use your head in that one.
You don't see that much, but it's so hard to get to MetLife Stadium from Long Island. Number one. Number two, the prices for that game, because there's a Cowboy contingent in New York, are very expensive.
Right.
Versus just going to another Cowboy game in Dallas, and
But it's tough. It's extremely tough to get tickets in Dallas as well.
yeah, they're always available. It's not necessarily a cheap
Right.
seat, but the difference is that the stadiums. MetLife Stadium is a high school gym compared to AT&T Stadium in Dallas.
Right. Well, some high school gyms,
Are
fields,
not-
and
and Dallas are nicer than MetLife Stadium.
Right.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Including, by the way, the Cowboys practice facility in Frisco, where I've had the opportunity to work numerous times.
it's a great facility.
And yeah, that's a 12,000 seat.
It's a high school gym. It's a high school field.
Yeah, it's a full.
Frisco
The
High School.
Cowboys practice there, obviously, and it's a full indoor football field. It's magnificent.
So my boys went this summer. They went to the Cowboy camp.
Oh, that's fun.
It was a blast. Basket number 23. Oh, yeah, we have the basketball game going on here.
Yes. Now, again, these are not Berman starters as they miss a three, but they're up by 13 in a modestly, low-scoring game. But they're maintaining a 13-point lead. I don't know how much closer Berman would want it to get
Right.
before, bringing in some other players, but. It's a good challenge. And listen, Joey talked about the format. Every team last night played what could have been a meaningful game. The way the tournament used to run is when you played your first 3 games on Thursday and Friday, and those 3 games would determine whether you made an A tier or a B tier for the weekend. Now, today is Sunday in this tournament, and you are watching a B tier game. However, the difference from those years past to now is that your 3-game preliminary round record only served to tier you for this playoff tournament this weekend. So what that meant is that last night, any team was still alive versus the other format whereby Saturday night you were tier A, tier B, which is kind of cool, too, when you think about it. These kids were all together for Shabbos. They were at the Shabbaton. And they weren't separated yet. They were all still alive to win this whole thing, which I think is a cool thing for Shabbos. Now, if we have to knock anything, and that's what we do so well on this show. The one thing you would say is because of that format, what you ended up creating were some incredibly lopsided games on Saturday night because you had a 1-12 game, a 2-11 game, a 3-10 game. Now, the 3-10 game is probably, to Joey's point, it was North Shore against Ramaz. Was North Shore a heavy favorite? Sure. But could Ramaz have won that game? They could have. They could have played a great game and won, as Hazan continues to just, the ball handling. It's really impressive. But, yeah, so you had some lopsided games, whereas, otherwise, given the format, in past years, Saturday night might have been more competitive. Now, as not only the guy who runs the tournament, but the coach of Hafter, does Joey want this thing to be competitive or to win and move on? So I don't know. He'd have to answer that for himself. But I think that would be the only knock that you would put on this format is sort of making Saturday night, a bit rough and eliminating. I mean, we've had some classic games on Saturday night in the past.
The ref didn't call the foul yet. If that's on 24, that's his fourth. They didn't call the foul yet.
That's going up. Falk drains it.
Bucket number 11. Asher Falk with the brace on the thumb.
He really is one of the better players. Again, reminder, he's playing with a broken, is it a finger or thumb? Let's just call it a digit so we can be correct on one of his hands. So, yeah, I mean, the new format is interesting. We'll see what they do next year. And again, even with the lopsided games, we're not talking about, they played 6 games last night. Essentially, 2 of them were kind of automatic. But any of the other 4, certainly 3 out of 4 were anyone's for the taking, to create today's seeding.
Sorry, I got a little distracted trying to get my notes back together here. But I was listening, and you were right with the, what's the word?
Parity.
Thank you. Like a parrot.
Except with a D.
Exactly. I'm a wordsmith. I make up my own words.
And Forsox Jason Meyer has entered the building. Now,
All right.
he's going to be with us for the next game. I do see he's wearing his photographer's outfit, which is a button-down shirt with a tie and the Eli Manning quarter zip. Which, by the way, is not a good sign because that means that he will only be with us for a brief period of time today. He will be leaving at... Oh, wow. What about a return?
He's leaving in 5 minutes. Buck 18 left to go.
So I was told he'll be here for the 10:30 game and then will be gone till at least the Tier 2 championship. Oh. Well, good news. We know how intent you are at your jobs. I hope your client for today's not listening. But, yeah, it'll be online. So
Nice cuts.
yes, we had Joey on the first half, and we were. I'm sure you were listening.
Nice.
And we talked about how that game of all the games that JCHS is going to play in this tournament is actually probably the best litmus test for their coach to see where his team is at compared to other yeshivas versus kids their age.
I think it's great. I think this.
Yeah.
I think if we keep talking about it, we're gonna have to write a Hallmark card about it.
Yeah. Now the one thing Joey pointed out is it will be their 3rd game of the day, as well as the fact that last night they took over Manhattan. So we don't know how that went or what time they got back.
Zahn just asked the coach to take him out because he says I can't make anything. Take me out. Coach goes, no, you got to play through it.
That's very interesting. We have 5 seconds left here. Let's see what we'll get off. Oh, almost thinks that, but doesn't.
And after 3, 45, 25.
I'm assuming when he came over, he said the same thing just now.
Yeah. You know what? It's challenging for them because I've got bet individually on their own teams, they're all superstars. And then they come together and you get wiped out like this.
And listen, no matter how good you are, no matter how good or bad your team is, the best and the worst of players don't want to be just out there on the court missing shots and missing shots and missing shots, and their team's losing. I mean, it's not, you know.
It does definitely have an ego check. Make you want to...
Nobody likes getting blown out.
No. But as my coach used to say, it's character.
Speaking of which, by the way, Ramaz, who is looking for their first win in the tournament, which is odd based on the scheduling. That's just how it's been. But they're up by 20 points right now on the game. I believe it's still, it's playing over your head. They're up by 20 in the fourth quarter, so they will defeat Hank and move on in the B tournament.
Has Hank won any games?
I don't believe Hank has won any games in this tournament. Have they? No.
No, we had that cross-county rival, which was a great...
Right, they lost that. They lost to Hillel. They lost to Magan by a lot. And they're about to lose to Ramaz.
By the way, so this Hazan kid and number 11, Asher Falk. There's a YU scout in the building.
Is it the YU scout?
One of them.
Oh, not.
And he was talking to some people. I overheard him talking with those are the people he's looking at, as well as Peter Drucker, but I didn't want to make that public. So that's just between me and you.
Yes, nobody's listening.
Don't tell anybody. He says Peter's got such talent and such.
And by the way,
good
I mean,
project.
Coach Steinmetz is such a good coach that, he could do a lot with a player like that. He'd train another 3.
All right, we got a third camera working now.
Well, we've had a third camera working the whole time. It probably wasn't moving.
It's being worked now.
So NFL is interesting today too. You have teams vying to lose,
Right.
which
A nice move.
and I'm not a college football aficionado by any stretch of the definition. But
Right.
next year is a big quarterback class.
That's what they tell me.
So you have the Houston Texans at 2-13-1, and then the Broncos at 4-12. So,
Isn't Craig Morton still playing for the Broncos?
and then the Bears at 3-13. So essentially, what that means is that Houston controls their own destiny by losing to get the number 1 pick. And when you're in a quarterback draft class, that number 1 pick is so valuable, so you can pick whichever quarterback. It's not necessarily the best, and obviously scouting is an art, not a science. But, different teams are built different ways. Certain teams, like our Dallas Cowboys,
Yep.
put a strong focus on offensive line. So, you don't necessarily need a mobile quarterback, just more of a throwing big arm kind of quarterback or whatever. I mean, that's a very rudimentary understanding of.
The Cowboys have their own quarterback issues,
They do.
as they always will.
It's funny. I sat with my dad as, I was driving. He was bored exercise. But, Dak Prescott is one of the highest paid quarterbacks in football. And we just ran through the quarterbacks. He's not even close to the top 10.
I would agree with that.
It's not debatable because we named 10 better than him. I won't do it now. Including even Brock Purdy on the 49ers, who would you rather have as your quarterback? As sort of the litmus test for the deciding who's better. He's better. Seattle's quarterback is better. Arizona's quarterback is better. Tampa's quarterback is better.
Right.
Minnesota's quarterback is better, although that's one where you start getting into it's debatable. Lions quarterback to me is better. Eagles certainly better. That's
Yep.
Then you go to the AFC. Kansas is better. Los Angeles is better. Derek Carr is better and available. Jacksonville has a better quarterback.
Yeah.
Cincinnati has a better quarterback. Baltimore has a better quarterback.
But again,
it's almost like half the AFC is better at least. And when you say better, if you just peek over and look at the records of those teams that have better quarterbacks, they're all winning teams except maybe for Russell Wilson in Denver,
right?
Where they just have a bad situation going there, but I don't know if it's fixable. The AFC East is about the only division where, obviously, outside of Buffalo, you go like, no, I'll keep Dak Prescott, but it is a problem for Dallas, who, if you look at strength of team in the NFC, they're, the Dallas losses, because they're not going to win the NFC. Philadelphia probably will today against the Giants.
You don't think Philadelphia's going to lose today?
I do not. And it's interesting. I'd love,
Fly Eagles fly.
hopefully the Eagles and the Cowboys meet at some point here in the NFC Championship game. But
You mean otherwise known as the Super Bowl?
well, the AFC Championship game is the Super Bowl. I mean, not really debatable on that. But it is interesting because the Cowboys and Eagles, if they play again, would be their third time playing, but really their first. You know, each time they played each other, one team didn't have their quarterback. So, and both teams without their quarterback, who you would have put as heavy underdogs, almost won, or certainly were in the game, you know, late in it. So that would be an interesting NFC Championship game, but got to get through the 49ers first.
So it's 24. No, shame. We have two brothers on the team for the Berman Cougars, Margulies, but we got the youngest one in now.
You know, Joey, you talked about it not having blowouts in these games, and I mean, I think both coaches doing a good job of making this a fun game for their players. You know, Berman's certainly not interested in making it close, but they also probably could have won this game by 40 or 50 points.
Yeah, like I said before, the coaching staff here is fantastic, and what they're doing is, besides not wanting to blow out a team, which is always a nice thing. I like that. You know, I hate to see teams just run up the score because they can, and many teams do that. Oh, nice pass!
Great
Did you
ball
see that?
movement.
Wow! Did you see
Great. By the way, that is literally you can take this clip and show it to Peter and have him rewind it because that's exactly
Right.
what you were talking about.
Passing out of the double team.
I mean,
all right. So you know, to the credit of Berman, they have these guys running the same system as their best players or their starters, and yet look, they're successful. You see that box out? See that block out? The box out on the sideline over there. That's exactly what I'm saying. These kids are playing. Doesn't matter if you know the game is relative. You know, it's over pretty much. And but these kids are playing. They're learning. They're learning how to play at a young age, and they're learning the system. It's
and
it's
Magan
good.
and Magan has that deep bench where it's sort of just plug and play. I mean, you know, we talked about Ramaz, who's up by 23 points right now.
Ramaz is up what?
21 over Hank.
Wow.
It's Hank.
I didn't expect that. Wow.
But yeah, I mean, Ramaz has literally no bench. I mean, they had an injury in this tournament, but they have 7 are left. I mean, that's, you know,
Right.
as much as a coach is, you know, I'm sure
They have 7. That's all they have is 7.
that's what Jason said. They only have 7 left. I thought they had 8.
I also saw 8.
Oh no, Jason said they're sleeping at his house. He's sure of it. There's only 7.
Okay. Yeah,
but-
one kid broke his collarbone the other day, which
Right.
is unfortunate.
Now, I wasn't sure if, you know, Scott and Ari would kind of reach out to a JV kid to, you know, as a late insert, you know, because of the fact that they just don't have players. But I guess kind of being where they were in the tournament seating-wise, they said we'll continue with what we got.
And also not really fair to the JV team.
Yeah, apparently Jason was just saying they have games this weekend. So,
Right.
So it seems that Ramaz is going to win that game, correct?
with 30 seconds left, being up by 23, yes. They're a likely winner.
So that's going to be Ramaz's first win of this tournament.
Which we were talking about earlier. They've been up by 20 for a while. I mean, it's weird that this is their first win of the tournament, and it came over Hank, who's essentially one of the, you know, probably the second lowest seeded team to
Correct.
the team we're watching right now. And that's Ramaz's first win. But at least, and listen,
Margulies.
we just said we don't like seeing blowouts, which is true. But, you know, to see them win by this much, it kind of reaffirms that, you know, they're a good team. They just have had a tough draw here.
Yep.
They were very much in the game.
That's the second one.
Was it DRS they played the other night?
No, last night actually they played North Shore.
Well, last night they played North.
Oh, what a game that was.
That was a great game.
And they almost had it. They were actually up 28-20 at a point in the middle of the third quarter, and it looked like they were going to start to open it up, and then all of a sudden,
Oh,
whoa, what a...
good
By
hustle,
the
Sam.
way, yeah, I mean,
By the way, did you just see that? I don't know if you can
Pick this
catch
pop-
that on the live stream, that last play.
Joey, you could see everything on the live stream. What do you think this is? No, I mean he picked his pocket, but not only that, in a 27-point game to then dive on the floor to try to save it.
Yeah,
I mean,
coaches love that. These guys play hard.
and what we were
Nice
just saying
three.
about-
Did you just see it? Wow, who's that? He hit one earlier in the game. What's his name again? Number 12? He's good.
Jamie Lasry.
Wow, nice shot.
By the way, JCHS they give it away. Essentially, the brighter your shoes, the better, the higher you are on the depth chart on the team.
Blue 23.
You'll,
Baton's that. Zachary.
You'll notice that Hazan has very bright shoes as well, number 24.
That seems to be the new thing. Do the sneakers come like that with two different colors?
Some of them do.
Morty,
although
Ricky Morty's?
the other new thing is that, and I'm dead serious, unfortunately, you buy 2 pair of shoes in the same series, just in different colors, and then you do your own mix and match.
Right, yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah. Now, some kids do that. I guess the plus side is then you just mix and match the other 2, and you have, it's still 2 pairs of shoes.
Oh, we got that. Well, I understood that. Wow, good shot. He has a nice form, this kid.
Good house.
Now we have Berman, number 15. I don't know what his name is, but look at the size that he has, and look, he's playing as a guard. And that seems to be, in the last, I don't know, maybe
Benny
5.
Sussman.
What's his name?
Benji Sussman.
Right. So these guys, it's the trend is over the last few years. You can see it from the NBA going down that the big men are now just guards, and they can all shoot just like anybody else. Look at Djokovic and look at all these guys in the NBA. They're so big, but yet they're playing as guards, and that seems to be the trend.
I mean, by the way, the number one, when you talk to Elliot Steinmetz, I mean, the number one reason why Ryan Terrell has kind of any shot and has progressed to where he is because, as like a 6'7" combo guard, he's essentially the perfect size for today's NBA.
The old Dirk Nowitzki style.
I shouldn't say the perfect size, the perfect height and skill set. The way he, because that's always, listen, it's always been, why don't Jewish ball players make it or go further or whatever? And the problem has always been that if you were 6'5" or 6'6" as a Jewish basketball player, you were the center because you would have such a massive size advantage over everybody else. Well, now it's totally different because, like you said, Joey, the guards are 6'2" and 6'3". So, 6'5" or 6'6" is not, it's taller. 3 inches in basketball doesn't hurt, but it's not.
One of my JCC coaches, he was 6'5", 6'6", and he gets to Harvard. He thinks he's going to walk on, and he realizes he's shorter than all the guards. He's like, no.
Joey, my cousin Daniel, who's about 6'4".
Nice move.
He played center at YU in college.
Who was that?
Daniel, my cousin. He would, I think, and I'll have to ask him this, next time I see him, but I think today he would definitely be a guard.
Right.
Right. Paul Haley seals out by Margulies. Falls, jumps on the ball. Gets
Wow,
the ball.
good effort. Again, good effort. They're on the floor.
20 seconds left with a 27-point game.
27
Right.
lead.
Right. You got to
And
love
by
that.
the way, on the floor to hustle just to get a ball to dribble out.
Right. You got to love the effort. All right, so Berman's going to advance to the...
Oh, nice try.
Oh, what just happened there?
He tried stealing the ball during the laydown.
All right, Berman advances now to the semifinal game, which I believe is going to be at
The high school,
12 o'clock.
Yeah.
12 o'clock. And I'm not sure which gym they're going to be playing in, but okay, we're going to now take a little bit of. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I've got to do some housekeeping here, guys. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully we'll be back in a few minutes.
Yeah, and so we'll sign off for now. Frisch and North Shore.
That's going to be a fantastic lineup as we have a replay of what game was that? They had an overtime game, correct? That was the first night of the tournament, I believe? No.
Yes.
Or Friday morning?
Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon, yeah. So this is going to be a great game.
That game was an absolute thorough. I could tell you we were done in here, and the entire school was in that gym. I don't know where everyone went, but they managed to get them in there somewhere. All the players were in there. I mean, that was a great, great game. And this will be an interesting rematch because, as we talked about, this gym is not that gym.
Right.
And these two teams are built a little bit differently, so we'll kind of see how this plays out. I think North Shore probably has more of an advantage in this gym, but who knows? We'll see. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes.
Guys, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Joey. We'll be back in 10 minutes, and big game. We'll preview when we come back on, but this will be a game where one of the top teams gets eliminated. Either of these two teams, this is a quarterfinal game between two teams that could win this whole thing. So it'll be exciting. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Yeah, I'm not going to start it until we're like 2 minutes. Yeah.